Gauteng emergency officials and their counterparts in KwaZulu-Natal are on high alert after flood warnings which are issued for parts of eastern and northeastern South Africa. While no major incidents have been reported by this afternoon in Gauteng, the city of Tshwane has closed several low-lying bridges in the Centurion area. In KwaZulu-Natal, disaster management teams are on standby to respond to any emergencies. It comes just after a year, in fact, following devastating floods in KZN. Those floods killed more than 400 people and left thousands displaced. Let's speak now to emergency service officials, including the KwaZulu-Natal Cooperative Governance Department spokesperson, Siboniso Mngadi, and Joburg Emergency Services spokesperson, Robert Mulaudzi. Robert, will come to you shortly. Siboniso, let me start with you. Any incidents tonight in KZN?
Yeah, no, thanks very much. No, so far we haven't received any report of a serious incident, but we're monitoring the situation very closely. It's just been raining in different parts of the province since last night.
And how serious is the situation? How concerning is it?
Well, as a provincial government, we are very concerned given our experiences with the floods. So yesterday we received a notice from the South African Weather Services that the heavy rains which started yesterday midnight, and that will continue until today 11 p.m. So we activated all our disaster management centers and their teams. So we've been monitoring the situation very closely, and we've also warned the community, especially those who are in the low-lying areas, that should be extra cautious of the situation and also move to the safer places should they see the water level that are increasing. But we are happy that at this stage, nothing serious that has been reported to us.
You've got quite a few areas where heavy rainfall is expected, among them eThekwini and KwaDukuza, etc. Take us through why you're worried about those specific locations at this point.
No, you will remember that the city of Durban is still on a recovery after the last year flooding. So we are very cautious about the coastal cities, because on the notice that we received from the South African Weather Services, the rain, which is in the far south coast, eThekwini, KwaDukuza, those are the coastal towns. And we are also worried because they were the most affected during the 2021 flood. So we're monitoring the situation very closely, but we're also happy that the municipalities, disaster management centers in that municipalities, they've been on high alert, and at this stage, nothing of serious that has been reported to us. But as I've mentioned, that the officials are on a high alert, and we're happy. But we're also cautious as we are approaching 11 p.m. The rain may gain momentum during the night, but we only hope for the best.
And what plans are in place should there be a worsening situation? You're on high alert, but what would the emergency plan entail? Are you looking at evacuations, for instance, in the areas of concern?
Yes, definitely. Our disaster management centers are on high alert. They will, once we get a notification, or they also are monitoring the situation on the ground. So once we see the water levels that are gaining momentum, especially the rivers, those that are nearby the rivers, people will be taken out to the safer places. Can be community halls that are already on standby, because as a province, I think we've learned a lot of lessons from the previous disaster. So we make sure that there are safer places that are already available following this warning. So should anything happen, they are on standby to respond to any a challenge that may arise.
Siboniso Mngadi from the KwaZulu-Natal government, thank you for that. Let's get you an update then on the flood situation, or the flood warning at least, for Johannesburg now. Speak to Joburg Emergency Services spokesperson Robert Mulaudzi. Robert, a very good evening to you. Anything to report from your end as far as actual incidents since this warning? It's been raining in Johannesburg for most of the afternoon.
So far, we have not yet received any major incidents which have been reported throughout the city of Johannesburg. However, we remaining on high alert. We're monitoring most of our low-lying areas, which is mostly our informal settlements, which we know that when we have severe thunderstorms like the ones we had from last night, there will be the hardest hit. So far, so good. We don't have any situations where we had to evacuate people. So we have got our disaster management monitoring teams in all 7 regions of the city who will be monitoring the situations overnight, and also our swift water rescue unit, which is a specialized unit which responds to water-related emergencies, which is also on high alert.
We are going now, or we are in fact in nighttime hours, and we're expecting more rain overnight. I wonder how much of a complication to potential rescue operations that might be, paired with the fact that we're in stage 6 load shedding, where some communities may very well be dealing with a flood situation, but also in the dark for 4 hours at a time.
Yeah, it becomes difficult for us, but from our side, we normally work in very difficult conditions, unusual situations, which we find ourselves in. So we've got required resources which will assist us to be able to required lighting which you can be able to assist us to conduct those evacuation procedures. The good part is that is that we have invested a lot in terms of public education, disaster preparedness, especially in our most vulnerable communities. So we've got measures in place which will assist us to make sure that we can evacuate our residents effectively and safely without any incidents in most of our areas. But so far, we have got all our resources in place to be able to, if there's a need for us to evacuate people, who can be able to do so effectively without any difficult situations for us.
And what are you expecting to happen overnight? What sort of forecast have you been given?
Yeah, we are told that we might still receive a lot of rainfalls overnight, which might affect especially motorists. You know, Tembekile, every time when we're given an opportunity to interact with our residents out there, together with yourself, we always, on our knees, pleading with our motorists, because motorists try and take a lot of chances. Sometimes, most of the times when they're driving, they rely mostly on their vehicles to say they're driving, these big machines. They can be able to drive anywhere, anytime. So we find out that most of the time we are responding to vehicles which are stuck, maybe in a bridge or roads which are flooded. For even this time around Tembekile, we're still pleading with our motorists to please avoid crossing the areas which might be flooded. It doesn't matter how, you don't have to underestimate, the level of the water in that particular area. And also our, passenger vehicles like your buses and taxis, they